Welcome in, everyone. It's the Coach Matthew Mitchell Show. So glad you are back with us for another show. And we have exciting things happening here in our world. The pre-sale is live for my new book, Ready to Win: How Great Leaders Succeed Through Preparation. And if you are watching, you can see a copy of it right here. We have some advanced copies, and your copies will be available, will be shipped out on starting November 19th is when the book is live. But right now, the pre-sale is anywhere you get your books online, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you purchase your books. We'd love for you to get a copy of that. You also can go to CoachMatthewMitchell.com and find out everything that is happening in our world. We are writing, speaking, coaching, training, and we're excited for the end of this year and looking forward to 2025. And this book, Ready to Win, all about preparation, I think is a great time of year for us to be thinking about how we can prepare to finish the year strong and how we can look to the future and make sure we are prepared to be our very best in 2025. So as we record today, football season is in just full swing here in the United States, and college football, National Football League, everybody is on fire for what has been a very exciting season so far. And I certainly enjoy watching football. Of course, if you followed my career at all, you know I coached college basketball for 21 seasons, and so I really love that sport as well. That sport's done a lot for my life and my career, and that much is true. But the sport that I absolutely you could call my first love is baseball. And a couple weeks back, we had the World Series going on, and it was the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the New York Yankees, and very exciting matchup of two great teams. And I can remember when I was a kid and really falling in love with the sport. Back in Mississippi, my dad coached Little League, and I had three older brothers, and many summer days, summer days were spent out in our backyard or our front yard, but out in the yard playing baseball. And I was a good bit younger than my brothers, and so a lot of times I would just be by myself playing imaginary games of baseball and really, thinking about being a Major League Baseball player and having those kinds of dreams. And during that time, the Yankees and the Dodgers were really good teams in the late 70s, early 80s. And they faced off in a couple of World Series that I can still remember. And so it really brought me back to my childhood. And so I was excited to watch the World Series this year. And so the series got off to a pretty exciting start, but then quickly got a little bit boring because the Dodgers won. The games weren't boring, but the Dodgers got up 3-0. And so if you don't follow the World Series, it's the best. You have to win 4 of 7 games. It's a 7-game series, and so the team that wins 4 games is the World Series and the world champions. And so L.A. stormed out 2 games in Los Angeles, 1 game in New York. New York came back and won Game 5, and so now it's Game 4, and so now it's 3-1. So I was watching Game 5, and the Yankees stormed out to a 5-0 lead, and they had their best pitcher, Garrett Cole, was throwing a no-hitter through 4 innings. And just it looked like the Yankees were going to send the series back to Los Angeles. And then the 5th inning happened. And as I watched it unfold, I really thought about it and what transpired. And I said, you know what, there are some lessons here in leadership, and there's some lessons about preparation. And our last few episodes have been about preparation, and that's what the new book, Ready to Win, is all about. And I said, I'm going to use the fifth inning of the New York Yankees on defense versus the Los Angeles Dodgers and share with you 3 good reminders about what our preparation can put us in position to do. And once we are in the position to execute, how we can rely on our preparation to see us through in big moments. And this was a big moment for the Yankees. And so if they can get out of this inning and keep on rolling, they are going to win the game and send the series back. And who knows, no team had ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the World Series, but the Yankees just needed to win this one to keep that dream alive. But here's what happened. The Yankees had 1 out, and the Dodgers had a man on base, and a pretty routine fly ball, kind of a line drive, but not a really hard-hit ball, goes out to center field. And in center field for the New York Yankees is one of the best baseball players on the planet, Aaron Judge. And the inning before, Aaron Judge had made a spectacular catch in the outfield. And so this was really a routine play. There was a player on base, and I think Aaron Judge, started thinking about what that base runner was going to do. And at the last moment, he took his eye off the ball, and he dropped the ball, and which would have been a very simple, easy out for the Yankees. Now is a drop ball, and the inning is alive for the Dodgers. And so after that, there is a ground ball to the shortstop, Anthony Volpe, and a runner from second base trying to get to third base. Runners are now on first and second base, trying to get to third base. And Anthony Volpe throws a bad throw, and the runner is safe. And so that's mistake number 2. Mistake number 1 was Aaron Judge dropped a fly ball. Mistake number 2, Anthony Volpe rushes and makes a poor throw, and now the bases are loaded. And through all of that, the third mistake was Garrett Cole, their great pitcher, who I said was hitless up to that point. He got 2 incredible strikeouts. It was bases loaded, no outs, nowhere for these people to go. Garrett Cole strikes out at 2 amazing strikeouts that now have it 2 outs and bases loaded. And then mistake number 3, there's a ground ball to first base, and the first baseman, if you are not familiar with baseball, the first baseman is fielding the ball. The pitcher has to go cover first base. And so there's a ground ball. It's going to be the 3rd out in the inning. The Yankees are going to survive the mistakes 1 and mistake 2. But mistake 3, Garrett Cole does not cover first base. A very fundamental routine, what you're coached, what you're taught to do from the time you are playing Little League baseball. If there's a ground ball to first base, the pitcher needs to start sprinting there to cover the base in case the first baseman can't get there. So these 3 mistakes open the floodgates, and the Dodgers end up tying the game. They score 5 runs in the top of the 5th inning. They go on to win the game 7-6. They go on to win the World Series. And so I wanted to talk to you about what we can learn from these 3 mistakes that the Yankees made on defense. So mistake number 1 was the drop ball. And so what our preparation can inform us of and prepare us for is staying focused on the task at hand. So Aaron Judge needed to catch the ball first before he thought about throwing the ball back into the infield and trying to get his focus on the next step. So staying focused on the task at hand is very, very important when we get into, we have prepared to execute, we have prepared to succeed, we have prepared to win. And now, what can our preparation do? How can that inform us, and how can that impact our success? Oftentimes, I can find myself in projects, in tasks, instead of keeping my eye on the ball and keeping what I'm doing right here front and center, I start to look ahead. I can start to project into the future. I can start thinking about the next step. And the next step, I promise you, is going to be important. But we need to take care of what's right in front of us, keep our eye on the ball, make the catch, make the play, complete the task with excellence before we go to step number 2. And so keeping your eye on the ball, Aaron Judge, it was a play that he's made a million times. He's a great baseball player. And it was pretty routine on the scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being very routine. This was probably somewhere like a 7.5 if we're being generous, or an 8. This was a routine play. And you could see on the video replay, he took his eye off the ball. What I loved about baseball growing up, and what my dad and my coaches taught us, there's so many great life lessons in the game of baseball and in athletics in general, but keeping your eye on the ball is extremely important. And we can learn that from the mistake that Aaron Judge made. Now, the second mistake was a much more difficult, a much higher degree of difficulty. What Anthony Volpe had on this play was much more difficult than what Aaron Judge had on his plate. And so this happens to us when we are working and we're trying to execute and we're trying to succeed. We'll have varying tasks of varying degrees of difficulty. And so in mistake number 2, Anthony Volpe made a good play, and then it was high stress, it was high pressure, stakes were very high. And at that point in time, Anthony Volpe rushed just a little bit. He did not fully get his feet set. He really, at that point, just rushed it. And the lesson here is that when we get in these high-stress situations, we have to trust our fundamentals. And where are our fundamentals built? That's in preparation. So just like in mistake number 1, our focus, we build up our focus so we can keep our eye on the ball. And then in our preparation, we really solidify our fundamentals. What are our fundamentals? So my fundamentals of leadership and personal growth: honesty, hard work, discipline. And so when I get those fundamentals, I need to trust that in a high-stress situation, when I have to make a decision, my fundamentals can allow me to just stay solid, not rush, not panic when there's a high-stress situation. And I can tell you, I think if Anthony Volpe had just slowed down just a shade and really set his feet and made a strong throw, it was going to be so close. But I really believe that the ball would have gotten there and that out would have been recorded. And so mistake number 2 reminds us that in a high-pressure, high-stress situation, trust your fundamentals. So make sure your fundamentals are strong during your preparation, so when you get to that high-stress moment, you can trust your fundamentals. So now the third mistake, Garrett Cole doesn't cover first base. And so this lesson is so valuable because when we talk about degrees of difficulty, Garrett Cole was now in the most difficult spot you can imagine. He is pitching in the World Series against a phenomenal team in the Los Angeles Dodgers. And he is going up against some of the best hitters in the world. And so bases loaded, no outs. He gets 2 huge strikeouts. I mean, it was just, as a baseball fan or as a sports fan or as just a competitor, you just had to be blown away with how he performed. So he did the very, very difficult part. He did that so well. And now he's got a chance to get out of this inning after these 2 bad mistakes. He has overcome that with his talent and with his preparation and with his skill and his toughness. He showed a lot getting those 2 strikeouts. And now the ground ball to first base, this is about as simple as it gets. And he lost focus and did not make the simple play. And so a lot of times we think about how we have to dig deep, display our talent, overcome difficult situations. And then when the simple stuff is in front of us, we lack focus and we don't get that done. And so the mistake number 3 teaches us we should really, really prepare well. So when the simple things come our way that are critical to be executed, we can ace the simple stuff. And so that takes tremendous preparation on the front end to remind yourself of these things, to prepare yourself for focusing on what's at hand, trusting your fundamentals, ace the simple stuff. When we can think about these things, and I have been greatly impacted by this over the last couple of weeks as I've been contemplating this and thinking about it and really trying to learn from these great athletes. They are at the top of their game. I am working hard every day to be at the top of my game, to be my very best. They are excellent, excellent professional baseball players. I want to be an excellent professional coach. I want to impact people's lives at a very high level. And so you see these great professionals, some of the best in the world. We can learn from those mistakes that they made in that 5th inning. And as I've read different articles, they're talking about how they're going to think about that for a long time. The value for us is when we make mistakes, we learn from those. We can observe these mistakes. These 3 mistakes are teaching us 3 really important lessons as we prepare to lead at a high level, to live at a high level, to care about others at a high level. We keep our eye on the ball. We trust our fundamentals. We ace the simple stuff. Think about that while we are preparing to live an excellent life and execute at a high level. And I hope that is something that is going to impact you in a positive way, just as it has me. And so remember, Ready to Win, How Great Leaders Succeed Through Preparation. Pre-sale is live. Book comes out November 19th. We are pumped about that and excited about that. Go to CoachMatthewMitchell.com. We have all of our offerings there, workshops, executive coaching, speaking, keynote speeches. We can step into your life and help you move your life forward and your leadership forward, and that's what our mission is each and every day. So thanks so much again for taking time out of your day to join us here on the Coach Matthew Mitchell Show, and we will see you next time.